Well, hello there again. You know, I've been sitting and I've been pondering, all this stuff about all these groups that are supporting Hamas and apparently in favor of terrorism and such that's on all the college campuses, supposedly, in the United States, at least all the big ritzy colleges. Of course, there's a lot now, see? A lot of them young people go to them universities and that just so they don't have to go find a job and do something useful. And then there are people there, young ones that are there trying to gain an education so they can be some sort of a help, a server, speak of some service to society, to their particular society, probably in point. Because you know, this country of ours, people say one nation. No, we're not one nation. We're a union of 50 nations. And that's the way the Constitution was written, and that's the way it was set up, to be a republican form of government. You see back there, well, back in the Articles of Confederation days, before the Constitution, they had 13 colonies. It took 9 colonies to agree to do anything. Whether it was to go to war or make a debt for something, or 9 had to agree. Well, see, it got down and all this got corrupted. You see, that would have been that would have just about been 75% of the colonies had to agree on something. Well, that's why that thing was put in the Constitution about each state having 2 senators. And each state's district depending on the population. X amount of people for one representative in the House, but the state, didn't matter how big it was, it had 2 senators. And those 2 senators had to do what the state legislature wanted them to do. Okay? Now, if you figured 75% and we got 100, that'd be 75. Well, 74, say, just under 75. 74 senators would have to agree to go to war because the state agreed to go to war. 74 senators would have to agree to go to debt. Not a majority, 74. That would be following more the Republican form of government, representation. See, people say taxation without representation. They don't even know what it is. Because we got lots of taxation, whether it's in the cities, counties, states, or the federal. We get taxed on all kinds of things without any representation because all of our people are party people. All the people in them offices in the states and that, basically, there are a few exceptions in each state. Almost all of them are party people. They're either a Democrat or a Republican. They're made people in those mobs. See? Now, I went and I looked up the word fanatic because a couple of days ago or sometime just past, not too long, I made a video and I was talking about Christians and faux Christians. Because faux Christians are the ones that give a bad name to the Christianity and everything, because they don't follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. No, they follow the teachings of his adversary in a lot of conditions. They're actually Satanists. And fanatics, well, let me read you what my poor little book here says, now this is one of them Webster all-in-one that don't cost a whole lot of money, but it says, a fanatic is a person who is ardently attached to a cause, object, or pursuit, especially a person exhibiting excessive enthusiasm and intense, uncritical devotion, usually towards some controversial matter. Now that's what that says in that book. I don't know how many scholars came up with that. It's just like the Bible. You know, that King James Version of the Bible, they had all them scholars over there. King James rounded them up and had them translate the Bible out of the Greek and Latin and some Hebrew and this, that, and the other. I don't know. That's why it is said to be the most correct. But over the centuries, we don't know what people added and what they took out and everything. But you get in, and that word fanatic. Now, I don't care whether you're talking about Christians, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, what was that Japan had? Got in the Second World War, Shintoism. You get any of these things. That LGBTQ plus stuff. Any ideas that people have, because any belief system an individual have is actually a religion. People don't agree with that, but that's true. And so you get all this problem. Fanatic Christians cause all kinds of troubles. Fanatic Muslims cause all kinds of troubles. You can ISIS and, well, they say that old Osama bin Laden was a fanatic, but I don't know. If you really pay attention to what he fought, what he believed and everything, he was kind of right on a lot of things, because he came out of that Russian Afghanistan deal where the Americans taught him all that good stuff, and he was against corporations and interference in local affairs and stuff like that. So I'm not going to make any judgment on that guy. I don't make any judgment on most people. But you see, it's the fanatics. The stuff that they've just been having on these college campuses. And those people that went and, they run the mob up into the Capitol in Washington, D.C. and did this, that, and the other. I ain't talking about January 6th a couple of years ago. I'm talking about just recently when them progressive leftists did the same thing. And there's no big deal. Nobody's making any charges. Nobody's saying anything about insurrection or anything like, there's kind of a double standard in this. Of course, that goes back to this whole thing I've said before about there's only two churches. One is the good from a loving God, and the other one is from Satan, who's trying to destroy all the good that God does. Now you figure out which one of them churches these people is in, because there are things that are good for society, and different societies are, certain things are good for this society that this society doesn't consider good. Well, this one don't have any reason to say you got to do this to that society. This other society ain't got any reason to say you can't do that because it's wrong. You see what I'm saying? We got 50 states, 50 countries, 50 nations under a union. They're all supposed to be equal, like each man and woman and child is equal under the Constitution. But you figure out what all these tyrants and dictators and billionaires and all these lawyers and big law firms and all that have done to the equality of rights under the Constitution in this country. Think about it critically. Read, study, pay attention. I ask God to bless you. Think about it. Have a good day. Talk to you again.